when you're running a guild, you get to make a lot of decisions, and most of them don't matter, and you really don't have to make them. But some of them really do matter, and I would say that the reason that a decision would matter is mostly because it affects the likelihood that people are going to continue playing the game with you. Most decisions don't affect that unless you're a real asshole about it. Let's talk about the ones that do, though. And we can put this into a little bit of a mathy way because I think it makes it a little easier to start actually reasoning about. So let's say there's some value X, and it's going to define the chance someone makes it into the next raid so that they continue playing with you. Okay, so X is the chance someone keeps rating or playing the game. I mean, really playing the game or associating with your social group is really what this is all about. And then we could say there's a value N, and N is just supposed to be equal to some time steps. We could say it's like raid lockout. So N is number of raid IDs. And so you could say that when you make a decision, it's going to make X either go up or down. And so it's going to then change the value of X to the N. And the value of X here is really, really, really important to the success of your raid group. Because, for example, if you had X equal to something around, I don't know, let's say like 0.99, then even if N is really quite a big number, X to the N is still going to be equal to something very close to 1. So that would mean that people stick around a really long time. But where you can get really screwed up with this is that people aren't very good about thinking in exponents. And you can see this, for example, on boss fights like Baron-Geddon, where the tick from the fire damage doubles every time, or bosses with chain lightning effects where the damage received doubles every time. This really destroys people's ability to have like an intuitive understanding about what the fuck's going to happen number-wise. If instead of having 0.99 as the chance somebody continues raiding, let's say you have a friend who they've quit on you a lot of times, but they're a really fucking good raider and you think they're going to be around again in the future even if they quit on you now. And so maybe they have something like a 0.8 chance to actually continue raiding raid over raid. What would this mean? Well, 0.8 just once, it's like 20% chance they're not going to be there. Twice, it's 64, and then it's going to be around 50. So for very, very low values of N, the person's just not going to be in your raid group probabilistically. Like over the course of a month, if you have one of these friends that you're thinking, oh, they got like an 80% chance of sticking around every week, well, they're fucking gone on average in about a month. So what are you doing caring about these people? Or this also means, for example, that this value here, making it so that way X goes down just a little bit, makes an enormous difference on how successful your guild's going to be. It will absolutely destroy your average tenure, especially for really big values of N, which is where all the things you dream about are with running a guild. Because really, who wants to make a guild and think they're going to have like 10 raid IDs? Does that make any fucking sense? 10 raid IDs, you're gonna put a guild together so you can do that? No. The dream outcome for you when you're running a guild is that like N is equal to fucking 100 or something. Or really, it's way bigger than 100. That is what you're hoping for. When people are really stoked about their guilds, usually they have really, really long-lasting relationships with a whole bunch of people, and that means that you've got to make it so that way N can be very big and still have this X to the N thing be very high, so that way people will continue raiding with you. And there's so many opportunities you get to piss people off. This is a really big one. Giving out loot in an unequal way. Why do I think that's really silly? I don't think that stacking people with gear really makes them all that happy. When you give if somebody had full bis in your raid group compared to just an onslaught girdle, I don't think they're going to be drastically more likely to stick around in your guild. Not really. It's not receiving extra items that gets people to stick around. No, no, no. It's other things that get them to stick around. But somebody thinking that they have no chance of getting items will make it so X will go down a lot. So if you want to be corrupt and you want to stack your homies, then it better be the case that when you have this partition in your guild of different people and you have your personal friends, so you say you got your homies and then you got all these randoms that you're trying to exploit because you're some fucking kind of psycho person, you better be really, really, really fucking certain that X is some small value for the randoms and that it is truly a X is high on your homies, because then it could make sense to give them a whole lot of loot. But what I think usually ends up going on is that with the people that are newer into your guilds, you can call them randoms if you're some fucking asshole, they joined your guild with the intent that it's going to work out and that they're going to be raiding for a while. Almost for sure. Not too many people go join guilds thinking, I'm going to be in here for just a short bit, I'm going to get loot, and I'm going to leave. Because one, it's very unlikely that as a new member you're going to really get anything out of a guild. So that doesn't make sense. And then also most people aren't really into that short-term relationship game stuff, even if it might appear like it. Lots of people just end up in that situation because they don't fucking know how to actually find a guild that's worth being in, more so than because there's some like weird person that likes bouncing around guilds all the fucking time. But a lot of people, you know, they will take advantage of new members. And what's going to happen? Maybe you give 4 times as much loot to your homeboys and it makes them just slightly more likely to keep playing. Probably it would make playing the game just a little more fun, and so that might increase the value of X by a little bit. But the stuff that's really going to get your homeboys to fucking quit the game is probably things that happen in the real world, so IRL shit. And it's not like giving them loot really helps with that. But what you are creating is an in-game problem for all these other people. So you got an in-game problem, which is that their GM, raid leader, master leader, whatever, is a fucking asshole. So what's going to happen? These guys are going to just stop being around a whole lot. And this is a weird problem too, where even if you cared just about getting as much loot as possible on these guys over on the right, well, if you have super low average tenure for these guys on the left, then that means that these dudes on the right actually will receive loot at a lower velocity, at least in some part, because you're going to be giving out pieces to people who end up quitting at some point in time. Because there's no way you can get away with giving the new people absolutely no gear, right? This is the stuff that I think trips people up all the time. Or without talking about loot, there's lots of other ways that people can make this bad. They'll allow there to be weird social hierarchies in the guild. There'll be shit where there's like some really cool guys at the top. This is like maybe an officer clique. Holy shit, this is like the most cringe thing ever when people have officer cliques. Like, I just don't get it. Here's one of the weirdest things about having an officer clique. If assume you're a fucking psycho. All right, and maybe it's like kind of cool to have some kind of fake social status in the game. When you have like the super strange officer clique and you guys all hang out with each other and shit talk like other members in officer chat, you know, like in /O. All right, like you're fucking not even really near the rest of the guild. So it's so strange. You're obviously kind of playing favorites and detached from the average raider, but you're not even around them. So I don't even see where you get like the benefit with feeling like you're exceptionally cool. But guilds do this all the time. So like maybe all the way at the top you have a officer clique, and then you have another thing people do quite often is they'll have some kind of veteran rank. This is the veteran rank is like the regular raider rank, except instead of it being a regular raider rank, which doesn't mean too much other than maybe ability to get put into a raid, the veteran rank means that the GM thinks you're cooler. GM thinks you are cool. That's the wrong you are, but it's okay. This stuff, so common that people have a veteran rank. The default UI in the game gives a veteran rank. Like when you make a guild, it's one of them. It's like GM, officer, veteran, member, initiate. So fucking stupid. Whoever decided to put that in when Blizzard first made this game, what a fucking asshole. So dumb, and now people just still, all these years later, they do this kind of crap. Don't have a veteran rank. It's something where, let's say you do have members that they're vets, they've been around a while. Do you think they're really gonna feel all that better if you give them a little special star? No, no, probably not. They're not gonna. Their mood is most likely gonna stay constant, I'd say. But everybody else, they're probably gonna be a little sad about it. Like, oh, I'm not one of these cool guys. And then every time, for example, every time you create these divisions between your members, so you got like officers, veterans, raiders, and then maybe you have, I don't know, new guys. Yeah, new guys, something like that. You're just gonna make it so all the people who feel like they're at some lower level, they're less happy. Or or it means nothing. The ranking could mean absolutely nothing, and maybe you can get people to believe the ranks mean nothing, in which case it's kind of weird to have them. And then you're just going to get bombarded with questions about, oh, why am I not such and such rank? Who hasn't seen this in a guild before when people are asking about, oh, why am I not the raider rank? Yada, yada, yada. So fucking dumb. There's just absolutely no reason to have this crap in your guild. None at all. And this can happen with Discord also. It's very easy to just end up creating a billion roles in your Discord and a billion channels and giving people different colored names so that way they can talk about certain things. And now this is another one talking about shit in Discord. This is another one that can make it so that way X is decreased a lot. And I see this all the fucking time. I mean, I'm not in like in a whole bunch of guilds or anything, but I've seen this a whole bunch in the past, so not really recently. Creating things like raid feedback channels where anyone can say anything about the strategies or the players in the raid. This shit, in my opinion, doesn't fucking work well. And there's a lot of reasons that it doesn't work well. But the number one reason is not everybody in your guild has the same relationships with each other, and not everyone sees the relationships. They like two individuals, you have like guy 1 and you have guy 2 here, and they have a relationship, but it's not actually like there's one relationship between them. It's more like it's directional. There is how 1 sees the relationship with 2 and how 2 sees the relationship with 1. These things are they're not equal. Okay, they're fucking not equal, and not everyone's going to realize that, but really this graph's a lot more complicated because there's like fucking 3 and 4 and whatever, all then 5 and all these other fucking people, and it's a huge bullshit spider web of different things going on. And you'll have somebody say something about another guy's performance and they won't take it the right way, or maybe the statement is made in a stupid way. I have seen people bring up fucking Sunders so many times in stupid fucking ways. So many times where it's just like at guy, hey, you are a rat, please Sunder. Who hasn't seen this shit before? And somebody will say this to another one of your members in your guild, and they will think, okay, I'm calling this guy a rat. That's like extreme. They should know I'm kind of trolling. And then the other guy will not think it's trolling. And now you gotta fucking fight. And this is also a lot of the times with this these raid feedback channels, people focus on the very low productivity but easy to piss people off things. Because let's say, for example, with the Sunders, if you had a raid, let's say that 5 stacks of Sunders, so 5 Sunders, that this makes a 20% damage increase for the melee, okay? Something like that, 20%. All right, let's say you have 1 tank, and they're going to do a Sunder per global, but they're also going to do Bloodthirst first. So what's that going to mean? That means that this 1 tank, they're going to go like BT, Sunder, 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 BT, Sunder, Sunder, right? So how many things is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 globals in, you're gonna have just about 5 Sunders. Now the tank has like a 20% chance to not hit shit because like the mobs are facing the tank and then you get dodges and parries. So really they're gonna get 4 after 7 globals. But if only the tank is sundering, you're gonna still have it so that way after 7 times 1.5, because that's the duration of the global cooldown. So after about 10 seconds, you have 5 sunders up. So like that's kind of the everybody's being a fucking idiot case in your raid. No one's sundering except like 1 tank per mob. It takes 10 seconds to get the sunder up. If you kill your trash mobs in 20 seconds, 20 seconds, then that means that you're giving up half of this 20% because the first 10 seconds, so it's like 10 seconds 0 to 10 and then to 20. So once you're at 10, then you have the max value from the sunder. It's like a little graph, and then it's going up in a straight line just about the whole time until there. So that means that the thing you're giving up by not having literally perfect sunders is equal to the area above the curve here, right? This. And then based on you adding more people actually into the mix of doing some number of sunders, then what you do is instead of having the line be sloped like that, you basically you make it so it gets the higher slope and then it tops out earlier. All right. Now, so that was talking about if we had this really terrible, it's like 10, that curve's kind of big. Well, let's say that there is one DPS player that's doing the same thing, basically. So then that means that this will happen at 5 instead of at 10. So if one DPS player is responsible, then all of a sudden now you top the sunders out at 5. If 2 DPS are responsible, then you're going to top the sunders out at 3. So yeah, put 3. Cool. So then you see this area starts getting really, really quite small. So my point being that although it's really cringe for the sunders to take 5, 6, 7 seconds in raid, and it hopefully doesn't in your guild, even if it does sometimes, there's just not that much value that you're actually giving up. It's a fraction of this 20%. You know, it's going to be like, oh, we kill the trash mob 3% slower because there's only 3 people that give a fuck about sundering in the raid. Yeah, like it's not a huge deal. It's not worth causing a fight in Discord about. And people are, I think, for some reason, drama is, I shouldn't say for some reason, drama's kind of fucking interesting in a guild. It really is, and people accidentally want to create it in weird ways all the time. In 2019, I was running a guild with another guy, and he wanted to have 1 million fucking officers. So we had like 10 officers plus us 2. So this is 12 fucking idiots running a guild with 2 raid groups. Like, what are you doing? It is so many people making decisions, which makes decisions happen super slowly. And we had to decide how we were going to deal with sitting people. And there was a couple people that they were talking about. They kind of wanted to kick them over their raid performance, and I thought it was a bad idea because I was really involved in the recruiting. And so since I was really involved in the recruiting, I was thinking, okay, how am I going to show these guys that what they're thinking here just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense? And so the way that I decided I think we should go about actually showing this was we went and all told each other who we knew was friends with each other in the guild. And so we got to make a little graph. And so if there's a lot of shared relationships between people in this graph, then that means that you can upset a lot of people with a decision. And so we started listing out the names of people. So it was like this. So somebody'd be like, oh, 1, and they are friends with 2, 3, 7. And then somebody else would be like, oh, well, I know that 2 is friends with 4, 5, and 8. And then 3 is friends with 7 and 9. And if you were to then to actually go and put this on a little chart, and so we'd put like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 7, and start actually drawing the lines between them, we'd start at 1. You got to put little circles around all these, and I'm gonna end up drawing a fucking spider web for you. Oh great, that shit just crashed. Guess I'll just swap to my display capture. There we go. And back to drawing. So we got 3 and then 2, and so now we go 1 has 2, 3, and 7. 2 has 4, 5, and 8, and 3 has 7 and 9. 7 and 9. And half the people in this graph are touching multiple people, and then there's a few that are only being affected by one person. So if you were to fuck with 2 here, it could really upset a ton of people, you know, or if you were to fuck with 3 here, it could upset a ton of people. And although this is kind of a lizard person way to think about how to make decisions, it is like really true that you should keep in mind who is friends with who and how people are going to actually end up feeling about the decisions you make, and like what kind of shit could happen when you do something that's going to displease somebody. And you shouldn't just feel really free to upset people in your guild because you're the GM. You're not even if you didn't care what the people in your guild, how they felt, and you just cared about having control of it, you're going to screw that up if you go act like an asshole and lower the chances that people want to stick around all the time, which for some reason a lot of people like to do that a whole lot. So if you run a guild, you should be a real nice guy. And if you're looking for a guild, you should hit me up in Discord. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll make some more of this shit later. Peace.